He does not look at a partner as a rescuer. He does not search for someone to mend the cracks in his spirit. He has done that work already. He has stitched himself together when no one else showed up with the needle. He has carried his own weight through storms that could have drowned him. He has whispered to himself in the dark when the silence was louder than any voice. And because of that, when he meets someone, he does not ask them to save him. He does not ask them to complete him. He simply asks them to walk with him side by side through the unpredictable terrain of life. That is a different kind of love. It is not built on leaning so hard that the other person buckles under the pressure. It is built on walking together in stride, two people whole on their own, but stronger together. You can tell the difference in the way he moves. When challenges arise, he does not crumble and demand that his partner carry the entire load. He steadies himself first, and then he reaches out to steady the other. When conflict surfaces, he does not panic at the thought of being abandoned. He does not weaponize fear or guilt. Instead, he communicates with clarity because he knows that love cannot thrive in manipulation. When distance happens, whether physical or emotional, he does not spiral into chaos. He trusts himself enough to give space, and he trusts love enough to remain steady. His calm is unsettling to those who are used to chaos, but it is comforting to those who are ready for peace. And let us be real, peace is rare in relationships built on need. When someone feels they cannot survive without you, they suffocate you. Their love is not free, it is a bargain struck with fear. Every disagreement becomes a threat. Every moment of independence feels like abandonment. Every step away feels like betrayal. That is not love. That is panic wearing the mask of affection. But the man who needs no one brings air into the room. He brings trust into the bond. He brings a sense of security that says, you are free to be yourself, and I am free to be myself. And together we can build something extraordinary without losing what makes us whole. This man is not swayed by the games people play. He does not chase validation through mixed signals. He does not lose sleep over unanswered messages or the temporary withdrawal of attention. He knows his value is not diminished by silence, nor is his dignity for sale at the price of affection. He does not play tug of war with love. If someone pulls away, he lets the rope fall to the ground because his worth is not tied to how tightly he can hold on. That scares people who are used to controlling others through absence, but it also commands respect. He is not bound by the illusions of scarcity. He does not believe that love is something to be begged for or fought over like scraps on a table. He knows it is abundant, and he knows that his own presence is enough to attract it without desperation. And yet, do not mistake his independence for isolation. He is not an island cut off from the world. He is not a fortress with walls so high that no one can enter. He simply knows the difference between sharing life and surrendering life. He invites people in, but he does not collapse when they walk out. He embraces intimacy, but he does not erase himself to maintain it. He cherishes closeness, but he does not confuse suffocation for passion. That balance is rare, and it is what makes him powerful in every relationship he enters. He does not drain the other, nor does he allow himself to be drained. He gives fully, but from a cup that is already full. And when you drink from that cup, you taste clarity, not desperation. The journey to becoming such a man is not glamorous. It is not painted in the bright colors of social media posts or romanticized in movies. It is quiet. It is grueling. It is filled with nights where he must look at himself honestly and admit where he has fallen short. It is marked by moments when he must let go of relationships that fed his fears instead of his growth. It is defined by decisions that hurt in the moment but healed in the long run. He learned to say no. He learned to walk away. He learned to value peace over drama, self-respect over temporary comfort, and growth over validation. And because he did, he now walks with a different stride. People feel it when he enters the room. They sense that he is not grasping, not reaching, not clawing for attention. He is steady. He is enough. He is whole. And here lies another truth. When a man needs no one in a relationship, he becomes capable of the deepest loyalty. It may sound like a contradiction, but it is not. Because loyalty that comes from fear of losing someone is shallow. Loyalty that comes from needing someone to survive is fragile. True loyalty comes from freedom. He stays not because he must, but because he chooses. He gives not because he fears losing, but because he delights in offering. He is not loyal because he is trapped. He is loyal because he is grounded. And that kind of loyalty is unshakable. It cannot be bribed by temporary pleasure, nor broken by fleeting temptation, because it is rooted not in fear, but in deliberate choice. When he says he is committed, it is not a cage. It is a promise carved into the core of who he is. Many misunderstand this path. They think it is lonely. They think it is cold. They think that a man who needs no one in a relationship is destined to walk alone, unable to connect, unwilling to open his heart. But that is not the truth. The truth is that his heart is more open than most because it is no longer ruled by fear. He does not guard it with iron walls. He guards it with discernment. He is not afraid to give, but he is wise about where he gives. He is not afraid to be vulnerable, but he refuses to be reckless with his vulnerability. And because of that, when he loves, it is pure, untainted by desperation. When he connects, it is deep, free of hidden agendas. When he commits, it is real, not born from panic, but from clarity. Imagine the weight that lifts when you realize you are not responsible for holding someone else's world together. Imagine the lightness that comes when you know your worth is not tied to someone's constant approval. Imagine the peace of being with someone who looks at you and says, I love you, but I do not need you to be whole. That is the gift he offers. It may unsettle at first because we are conditioned to believe that love should be consuming, that passion should be chaotic, that romance should feel like drowning. But over time, you come to see that what he offers is not less, it is more. It is steadier, stronger, freer. It allows love to grow without the toxins of control and fear. And once you taste that kind of love, the desperate version no longer satisfies. You begin to crave the steadiness of freedom. So when you meet such a man, you will notice the calm in his eyes, the steadiness in his words, the lack of panic in his presence. He is not looking to be rescued, nor is he trying to rescue you. He is not trying to mold you into something you are not, nor is he willing to bend himself out of shape just to keep you close. He meets you where you are. He values who you are. He invites you into his life, but he does not vanish into yours. And in doing so, he models what it means to truly love, without chains, without fear, without desperation. He understands that intimacy is not about losing yourself in another person. It is about finding the courage to share yourself with them without fear of vanishing. That is why he listens differently. He does not listen just to respond, nor does he listen to manipulate. He listens because he is present. He listens because he values the story of another without needing to twist it to fit his own insecurities. He listens because he knows that love is not proven through control, but through respect. And when he speaks, his words carry weight because they are not born from panic, they are born from clarity. He does not say, I love you out of obligation or out of desperation. He says it when it is real, when it is steady, when it has been tested against his own solitude and still remains true. And in his presence, others often find themselves questioning the way they have loved before. Because being with someone who needs no one reveals just how much of our own love has been tied to fear. We begin to notice the places where we have clung too tightly, the moments where we mistook control for care, the times when we gave not out of fullness but out of emptiness. His steadiness becomes a mirror, and in that reflection, we are challenged to grow. That is part of his gift. He does not only transform his own relationships, he transforms the people who dare to walk alongside him. He challenges them to rise, to heal, to step into their own fullness so that love can finally breathe. It is not always easy to walk with him. For some, it is even unbearable, because when you are used to being needed, when you are used to being the center of someone's survival, it can feel unsettling to stand beside someone who does not collapse without you. It can feel threatening to realize that their love is not anchored in dependence. And if you are not secure within yourself, that freedom feels like distance. But if you are ready, if you are steady, if you are healed enough to receive it, that freedom feels like the purest form of love you have ever known. It feels like oxygen after years of suffocating on control. It feels like still water after a storm of chaos. It feels like finally arriving at a place where you are loved not because someone needs you, but because someone truly sees you. And isn't that what we all crave? To be seen, to be valued, to be loved not as a savior, but as ourselves. The man who needs no one makes that possible, because he does not carry into love the expectation that you must fill every hole in his heart. He does not burden you with the impossible task of being both his partner and his healer, both his lover and his crutch. He has done that work already. He arrives at love whole, so that when he gives to you, it is not from lack, but from abundance. He loves not because he is empty, but because he is overflowing. And that kind of love is rare, but it is worth everything. Do not misunderstand, though this path does not make him invincible. He feels pain like anyone else. He grieves when love is lost. He misses when distance comes. He hurts when betrayal happens. The difference is that he does not let pain destroy his foundation. He does not let grief convince him he is unworthy. He does not let betrayal turn him bitter. He allows himself to feel fully, but he does not allow those feelings to strip away the strength he has built. He stands in the storm, yes, but he stands. And when the storm passes, as storms always do, he is still there, whole, steady, grounded. That resilience is not the absence of pain. It is the refusal to surrender to it. And here is something powerful: his independence does not diminish his capacity to need at the right times. Because needing no one in a relationship is not the same as rejecting help, rejecting love, or rejecting care. It is not a stubborn refusal to lean. It is the maturity to know the difference between leaning and collapsing. He knows how to receive love when it is freely given. He knows how to let his guard down when it is safe to do so. He knows how to trust not out of desperation, but out of choice. He does not need, but he allows. He does not cling, but he welcomes. And that is the subtle yet profound difference that defines him. When he commits, he does not do so lightly. He does not treat relationships as entertainment or as distractions. He does not use people to fill temporary voids. He commits with depth because he has no reason to pretend. He does not need the mask of love to cover loneliness. He does not need the illusion of connection to soothe emptiness. He is already full, already whole, already at peace. And so when he says yes to someone, it is a true yes. It is not a yes born from fear of being alone. It is not a yes born from pressure to conform. It is not a yes born from habit. It is a yes born from choice, from clarity, from authenticity. And when a yes is born from that place, it is unshakable. But to become such a man, sacrifices had to be made. To sacrifice the comfort of temporary validation, he had to sacrifice the illusion that someone else could fix what only he could face. He had to sacrifice the shallow bonds that crumbled at the first sign of struggle. He had to let go of people who loved his weakness but could not handle his strength. He had to walk away from relationships that thrived on chaos but shrank from growth. And in those sacrifices, he discovered freedom. He discovered the kind of love that does not trap but elevates. He discovered the strength of walking alone until he found someone worth walking with. And here lies another truth. People often misinterpret his independence as selfishness. They think he is unwilling to compromise, unwilling to give, unwilling to bend. But that is not it. He is willing to give deeply, sacrificially, fully. He is willing to compromise, but not at the expense of his core. He is willing to bend, but not until he breaks, because he knows that a love built on self-erasure is not love at all. It is control. It is survival. It is fear. He refuses to play that game. He knows that in order for love to be real, it must allow both people to remain whole. And so his independence is not selfishness. It is the foundation that ensures his giving is authentic. This kind of man changes the definition of partnership. With him, partnership is not about completing each other. It is about complementing each other. It is not about filling gaps. It is about amplifying strengths. It is not about one holding the other up. It is about both walking tall together. That shift is profound. It reshapes what love feels like. It reshapes what intimacy looks like. It reshapes what loyalty means. And once you experience it, you cannot go back to the desperate version of love that once felt normal. You begin to crave the steadiness, the freedom, the clarity of a love that is not born from need. The man who needs no one in a relationship is not rare because he is special. He is rare because the journey to become him is so demanding that few are willing to walk it. It requires brutal honesty. It requires the courage to sit with loneliness. It requires the strength to say no to temporary comfort. It requires the resilience to rebuild yourself after heartbreak. Most would rather distract themselves. Most would rather cling. Most would rather accept half love than face the silence of solitude. And so they remain dependent, trapped, desperate. But the man who chooses the harder path, the path of self-discovery, the path of independence, the path of wholeness, he emerges different. He emerges powerful. He emerges free. And once you are free, you cannot go back to chains. Once you have learned to breathe on your own, you cannot accept suffocation. Once you have built yourself whole, you cannot hand over your worth to someone else. That is why he walks the way he does, steady, calm, unshaken. That is why he loves the way he does, free, deep, unwavering. That is why he lives the way he does, whole, intentional, clear. And in a world where desperation often masquerades as love, his presence is a reminder that love is not about need. It is about choice. What unsettles many about such a man is not his independence, but the mirror it holds up to them. To stand in the presence of someone who does not need you forces you to confront whether you are truly there by choice or because you are filling your own voids. It reveals whether your love is free or whether it is chained to fear. And for some, that revelation is too much. They pull away, they retreat. They label him distant or cold because they cannot understand how someone can give so much without demanding in return. But for those who are ready, for those who are healed enough to recognize it, they see the gift in front of them. They see that his steadiness is not distance, it is strength. They see that his calm is not indifference, it is peace. They see that his independence is not arrogance, it is wholeness. And they realize that this is the kind of love that builds, not breaks. When he is in love, he does not consume your identity. He does not require you to shrink so that he can feel larger. He does not dim your light so that his can shine brighter. He celebrates you. He encourages you. He challenges you to rise to your own fullness because he knows love is not about ownership. It is about expansion. He is not threatened by your strength. He is drawn to it. He is not intimidated by your independence. He respects. He does not compete with your light. He complements it. And in doing so, he creates a space where love is not about suffocation, but about growth, not about possession, but about partnership, not about fear, but about freedom. He has no tolerance for games because games are born from insecurity. He does not withhold affection to create chase. He does not disappear to provoke panic. He does not manipulate emotions to gain control. He knows that real love is too valuable to be treated like a contest. He knows that genuine connection is too sacred to be reduced to strategies. He is straightforward. He is clear. He is honest. And while that honesty may not always be easy, it is always trustworthy. You never have to wonder where you stand with him because he will tell you. You never have to question his intentions because they are consistent. You never have to doubt his love because it is steady. And that kind of certainty is rare in a world where many build their relationships on illusion. What makes him powerful in relationships is not that he stands apart, but that he stands whole, because wholeness changes the way you love. Wholeness allows you to give without fear of losing yourself. Wholeness allows you to receive without feeling unworthy. Wholeness allows you to commit without being trapped. Wholeness allows you to forgive without being destroyed. Wholeness allows you to let go without collapsing. And wholeness allows you to stand tall even when love ends, because you know that your identity is not built on another person. It is built on the foundation you created for yourself. That is the difference. That is why his love is different. And yet, this path is not celebrated enough. Too often society glamorizes the desperate version of love. Movies tell us that we are incomplete without another. Songs romanticize the pain of obsession. Stories glorify the idea that love must consume you to be real. But obsession is not romance. Possession is not devotion. Desperation is not love. These lies keep people chained to broken relationships, begging for scraps of affection, confusing toxicity for passion. But the man who needs no one shatters those illusions. He proves that love is stronger when it is free. He proves that passion can burn without destroying. He proves that intimacy can be deep without being suffocating. And he proves that the truest love is not found in need, but in choice. And here is where many people struggle. They mistake his ability to walk away as coldness. But it is not coldness, it is clarity. He knows that love is not proven by how tightly you cling, but by how freely you give. He knows that staying in a relationship that destroys you is not loyalty, it is self-betrayal. He knows that letting go when something no longer serves growth is not weakness, it is strength. And so he does not stay out of fear. He does not stay because he is too weak to leave. He stays when love is alive, and he leaves when love has died. That clarity is terrifying to those who confuse need with love, but it is liberating to those who understand that freedom is the soil in which true love grows. He is not perfect, and he does not claim to be. Perfection is not his pursuit, growth is. He knows that mistakes will happen, that conflicts will arise, that misunderstandings will occur. But he approaches them differently. He does not use mistakes as weapons. He does not use conflict as an excuse for control. He does not use misunderstandings to manipulate. Instead, he treats them as opportunities for communication, for healing, for deeper understanding. He knows that perfection is not the foundation of lasting love. Resilience is. And resilience requires two people who are whole enough to face challenges without collapsing into desperation. That is why his relationships thrive, not because they are free of struggle, but because they are built on a foundation that can withstand struggle. If you ask him what he seeks in love, his answer will not be someone to fix him, someone to save him, someone to complete him. His answer will be someone to walk with him, someone to grow with him, someone to grow with him. He does not want dependency. He wants partnership. He does not want ownership. He wants freedom. He does not want drama. He wants peace. And because he seeks those things, he attracts them. Because he does not chase chaos, chaos does not find him. Because he does not cling to illusions, illusions do not control him. Because he does not collapse into desperation, he rises into clarity. And with that clarity, he creates the kind of love that others only dream of. For many, this may sound impossible. For many, it may feel like a fairy tale. But the truth is that this kind of man is not built in fantasy. He is built in reality. He is built in the quiet choices no one sees. He is built in the discipline of sitting with his own pain instead of distracting himself. He is built in the courage to walk away from relationships that do not honor him. He is built in the honesty of confronting his own flaws. He is built in the humility of learning, of growing, of changing. He is built in the strength of standing alone when it would be easier to settle for less. He is not extraordinary because he was gifted something others cannot have. He is extraordinary because he chose the harder path, the path of independence, the path of healing, the path of wholeness. And if there is one thing his presence teaches, it is this: love is not about survival. Love is not about clinging. Love is not about desperation. Love is about freedom. Love is about choice. Love is about two people who could stand alone but choose to stand together. Love is about giving from fullness, not from emptiness. Love is about building, not consuming. Love is about amplifying, not erasing. Love is about peace, not chaos. And once you understand that, once you see it lived out in the way he loves, you can never again settle for the counterfeit versions of love you once thought were enough. You realize that love is not meant to chain you. It is meant to free you.